We're live, I think. Yes, we are. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Darian Talks UTSA. We have a lot to talk about. We are 2 weeks away, folks. 2 weeks away. I feel like it's been a long build-up. I appreciate you guys for being with me throughout the off season, but now the good stuff is here. Now the fun, now the excitement. You know what I'm saying? It's all in the build-up, but now it's that time where all the speculation, all of the thoughts and the our opinions on strategy, what we should and what we shouldn't do, all of that is happening. We're going to get answers and resolutions to all of that. So I am really excited to talk to you guys about what's going on, some of my thoughts. I've been sitting on a lot of just thoughts and comments, and I was really itching to get on here yesterday. I tell you guys I do flag football on Wednesday nights, and I had a game, and it was a playoff game. We won the championship, so shout out to the Only Flags team. That's our name. We had some fun last night, and I'm a little banged up and sore. I can tell I am not a spry young chicken, or the spry young chicken I used to be when I was playing ball at UTSA. But that's another story for another day. But I see we got some comments already, but I wanted to kind of kick it off, and this will probably get some more comments going. So be sure to drop you guys' comments in the chat so we can get to them today. But I did want to talk a little bit about the single digit thing. This is what I've been wanting to talk about for a while, and what I was sort of most antsy about because I really wanted to have the show yesterday, and I put out a video a little bit about it, and I talked mostly about the quarterback position and what the single digit sort of signifies, right? And what it signals, like whenever they decide and the players vote, like Owen McCown is going to get all these votes and he's going to be one of the 2-1-0 guys. That means a lot, and I think to me the players sort of made the decision on who the starter is going to be. And I think that's good. And just to kind of reiterate what I said before, but they also voted or Eddie Lee got enough votes to where he's going to be a single digit player in general. So what that tells me is the team is behind both guys, and they probably are close in terms of what their talent represents, and they're probably close in terms of the evaluation that the coaches have, right? So what I'll tell you, or what I think, what I see from my view is Owen McCown's gonna start against Kennesaw State in 2 weeks, and Eddie Lee Marburger, will be right there if things don't go well. And I think that's one of the reasons why we're 2 weeks out and Coach Traylor hadn't come out and said, hey, here's my starting quarterback. Number one, I think, especially when you got a guy who's a lefty and a guy who's a righty, when you got that type of situation, there is some gamesmanship that's going on because the defense in their preparation is going to they would have to adjust to quarterbacks with, left, right hand and things like that, especially when it comes to how they put pressure on those guys, how they attack blind spots and things like that. So the defense will have to make sure that they are sort of balanced and even in terms of how they're going to attack a quarterback with some of those things. So it's a little bit of gamesmanship. It's not going to be too tough. I mean, defensive coordinators on this level should be able to adjust pretty smoothly to it, but I do respect the gamesmanship. But I also think that it is important for Coach Traylor to keep, even if he does, go ahead and go with Eddie or Owen McCown, it's also good for him to keep Eddie Lee confident, keep him, feeling like he's still in the battle, feeling like he's still, he could potentially get an opportunity. And when his number is called, he's going to have the respect from the team, respect from the respect and trust from the coaching staff, and that he can go out there and win games as well. So, I mean, nothing official has come out, but I think when you look at the single digits and the way we operate with the votes and things like that, I just think it's something that you have to consider. So That's a big one. On the flip side, in my opinion, on the flip side, when you continue to, or when you look at the secondary position, that's another thing. Before I get into the questions I want to talk about, that was the other big, that was the other big takeaway that I had from the single digit announcement. So I am scrolling right now. All right, I found it. So when you look at the, so a lot of folks know that I'm a secondary guy, and I play corner at UTSA, so I'm always looking at the secondary. But just in this chat, just over the course of the offseason, guys have continued to ask me, you know, what does the secondary look like? What am I hearing, so on and so forth. I spoke about Zah Frazier and all of the stuff that I've heard about him. And if you see who got number 3, who got voted as a single digit, Zah Frazier did. So I think that's big time. And I think what we have been hearing out of UC, out of like folks who are around the program, is sort of being validated with that. And the way he's talking, I've listened to some of the interviews that he was having. He was talking about being a leader and talking about, you know, working on bringing that aspect into the cornerback room and just to the secondary in general. I think whenever you hear a guy talking like that, it just shows that he's probably already doing some of that, and people are starting to get behind him and things like that, and they feel confident in him. So he'll probably be on one side of the cornerback position that will probably be a starter against Kennesaw State. The other couple of guys that I want to point out too is Elliot Davidson and Ken Robinson. So Ken Robinson, safety, Elliot Davidson, safety, both got single digits as well. Ken Robinson is going to be rocking a number 4. Elliot's going to be rocking number 6. And what that tells you, I mean, Ken Robinson has played quite a bit of snaps for UTSA already. And he's somebody that I expected to be in the rotation, in the fold, and things like that. So he's already proven that he can make plays. So he's going to be a guy that you see roll out there. Elliot Davidson also, he showed promise. He showed talent and ability, and an ability to, you know, ball hawk as well. So good for both of those guys. So when we talked about secondary and things like that, there was a lot of questions. I think these single digits signal that they have a good idea of who's going to answer the call in that secondary. And those 3 guys are probably going to be names that we see, you know, game 1. All right. I know I've talked a lot already, and I haven't gotten to any of your questions. We got to start with Mike because Mike was first, but I'm going to skip down to, I'm going to get Mike because I'm always going to read the first comment. Then we got a couple comments from the, from some of our members. So I'm going to get to those. I'm just giving a star to these right now. Also, I want to sort of make a quick announcement before I do that. I'm working with Kermit. I know you guys, I will be working with Kermit. Kermit is someone who shows up a lot in the chat. I think that Kermit's going to come in and sort of play the moderator for me to help me out through some of this stuff. So I'll be really excited whenever we figure that thing out. So I can be a little bit more efficient with some of the stuff in the chat and some of the stats as well. But let's see. First question or first comment here is Mike. What's going on, Mike? He says, you can feel the overall confidence going up each week if you listen to the team and the coaches talk about how fall camp has looked. You can tell they know we may have something special this year. Absolutely. I get that vibe. I get that vibe from everybody that I've talked to. I've talked to a couple of guys who were able to see the scrimmages and things like that. And I've heard really good things. I've heard that we are talented on both sides of the ball. And both the quarterbacks I heard are looking fine. They both look like they can be starters. I was really upset when people said that. I'm like, okay, I feel like I would have went out there specifically to try to make a difference between the two. But you know, I wasn't able to make it, and that's my fault. But everybody was still split down the middle. But yeah, I think we're gonna be good, man. We obviously have a talented group of guys. I think you can just look at our roster and you look at tape and things like that. It's clear we have a talented group of guys, but how does that mesh together? How do we do that? And especially offensively, where we introducing a new quarterback and we're introducing new skill sets, and how do we adjust to that? So it's going to be super interesting. I can't wait. I'm so excited, bro. I cannot wait until the season, really, so I can start breaking down X's and O's and talking about game like situations, because that's where I feel like I thrive. It can give you guys the best content. The off-season stuff is super fun, but that is a work in progress for me, and I'm hoping that you guys can see that I'm trying to get a little better at this every show we do from the off season, because I'm going to continue this into next year. But yeah, I'm really excited that the season is almost here, because um, yeah, it's football time. Life is better when football's in the air. Desert Dweller Sports Network, shout out to them. They are a sponsor of the community, and yeah, check out their football almanac at ddsn.us. These people are really easy to talk to. Check out their product, man. They're really trying to show UTSA some love. And they have you put in UTSA at checkout, you get 5% off, and it'll be donated to the UTSA football program. They're really trying to support, man. So really, I just want to give them a huge shout out and tell them we appreciate it. And yeah, we're gonna do this thing. So shout out to Desert Dweller Sports Network, 100%. Shout out to Danny here. Yeah, congrats on winning the chip. Yeah, man, it was fun. It was fun. It was tough. It was tough on the body, but it was fun nevertheless. Mike says, if we can come into the start of the season healthy, the season or the schedule sets up in our favor to make a nice run. Yeah, I mean, listen, in theory, it does if we are who we think we are, right? And if those teams are who we think they are. The problem is with that is I think we'll be fine. Like, we're going to be a good football team. Could we have some growing pains to start the season? Yes. But just seeing how Trailer operates, we tend to make the necessary adjustments as time goes on. And he's shown that, especially over the last, 3 seasons, right? So I think we're going to be fine. We're going to be a good, formidable team that should be competing for it. If we get good play out of the quarterback position, which I think we will, either with either guy, we should be in a position where we're probably competing for a conference title or somewhere in the dance with that. So yeah, I mean, as long as we don't suffer any crazy injuries, I think we'll be fine. I know there's some little nicks and things like that, but that stuff happens during camp. So we'll see what happens, but hopefully we do enter the season with a good bill of health. And if we do, watch out. Mike says, I think I read ESPN has us, Boise State, as the 2 favorites to come out of the G5 for that college football playoff spot. Nice to see them giving us up. Yeah, I mean, listen, we deserve it though, right? Like at some point, and this is not me going at Mike's comment here, but it's a thing that I just say, I say in general. And I tweet this a lot, and I even got to do this for myself. Every time I see us on a list or like we get national recognition on how successful the program has been, and I feel like I'm always surprised, and that's because everything is so new. We remember UTSA before there was a team. I specifically remember UTSA. The game 1 of UTSA. I was on the field, and everything comes as a surprise at that particular point, like coming from that situation, because like nobody knows who you are. You have to explain like what your team is, what conference you play in, and things like that. When you fast forward to however many years it's been now, and I think, what is this, our 14th season or something like that? When you come into this situation now, we have grown and taken such big steps forward way early in the process. And I mean, we've been ranked, we've won conference championships, bowl games, we've played against the biggest schools in the country. At time, I mean, and when I say that, I'm talking to UT, I'm talking to Texas A&M, and we've produced a first round draft pick. We got guys, you know, uh, going deep into the playoffs. Talking about Woolen I'm just saying, like, at some point, like, we should expect, like, they should be putting what Coach Traylor had. Think about what Coach Traylor has done in the last 3 years: two conference championships and another successful season. And the reason, and a lot of people don't take the bowl game win serious. I do, because, like I said, this program hadn't been around 2 decades yet, not even a decade and a half, right? So, like, when you take that into consideration and look at what this coach has been able to come in to do, he's been our he's the coach that's put UTSA on the map. I'm not saying Coach Coker didn't at all, but Coach Coker was sort of the fuel and the life that injected the program, that injected the program with some momentum. We have a little bit of a transitionary period when you bring in a Frank Wilson, who came in and really set the pace for what set the recruiting standard. I've not said a lot of great things. I've never been accused of being a fan of Frank Wilson. But what I will say is the recruiting standard that he set the bar high. And so then you bring in a guy like Coach Traylor, who has the whole gambit, right? He's able to land big time recruits, right? He's navigating this new space that we're in, because with NIL and players getting paid and that type of thing. He's navigating this under resourced and under supported, and he's still able to keep guys. He's still able to develop guys, send guys to the next level consistently, while hanging, while making history every season almost, and putting banners up. So whenever I think about what that man has been able to produce over the last 3 years, yes, we should be getting nationally recognized by ESPN early and often. Yes, I haven't seen G5 schools make this kind of noise in a while. So, considering us relative to our situation, is really what I'm talking about, right? So yeah, I actually think that we should probably get more recognition from the ESPNs and some of those folks, if I'm just keeping it a buck, because of what we have in Coach Traylor and what we've been able to do. So I tell you this, man, people are going to start noticing, and there's going to be a lot more of a magnifying glass on the G5 top schools now, because of the opportunity that we have with this college football playoff spot. So yeah, I'm going to be excited to see how that goes. Max says, I don't know about you guys, but listening to Darian every week, shout out to Max, man. Just gets me more hype about the season, bro. I'm hyped too, and you guys keep me hyped. I'll be honest with you. So here we go. I think we got another member chat that's going to take priority. What we got? Shout out to Harry, man. Awesome to catch you live, Darian. Hopefully there'll be a great crowd at UTSA and UIW women's soccer game at the Toyota Field. Yeah, I hope so too, man. Like, and that's the thing. I a lot of folks, I've gotten a lot of questions lately just about covering other sports and things like that. It's all about the demand for me, because I want to do as much as I can to keep people engaged. But I do plan on branching out to some of these other sports as we continue to build a community and things like that. So patience on some of this stuff, but yeah, hopefully there'll be a great crowd, and they put on a show. They put on a show. That's what you wish. Let's see. Max the Meme says 2025 opponents came out today. Tulane in the Dome will be awesome, and a tough rematch against Army at home. Yeah, bro. The Army at home. Army. I don't like Army at home, Army away, or any of that. But it is what it is. Yeah, I'll pull up the away schedule, or the 2025 schedule, just to kind of go through it. So the opponents are, let's see. Yeah, we got Army. Who's that? East Carolina, Rice. I am getting challenged right now on my mascots. So I'm missing that last home game. We got Charlotte, North Texas away, Tulane. No, that's Temple and South Florida. My bad. Is that Tulane? Tulane's the other team. Tulane is the other home game. So yeah, going to be crazy. I think Tulane is always going to be a fun game at home, especially considering their new situation that they're in and what they're trying to accomplish. But yeah, 2025 is nice, but 2024 is here already, and that's what I'm most excited about. So we'll see. Twain 55 says so much excitement and anticipation building up for the start. Absolutely, bro. This is one of the most exciting for me. I'll say this, like, coming into this season is super exciting to me because of the unknown. Like, we expect to, like, and it's weird. Like, I take this, and it just kind of shows you how you can take some of this stuff for granted. But like, whenever we had Frank and we were just rolling, like I almost I did come into the, like, after we won the conference championship, I went into the next season entitled, like, we're gonna run the tables again, and it was harder the second time. Clearly, like that was a close. We had a lot of close games that year, right? So it was a little bit difficult, but we're still the team looking down at everybody else. Like, we're not hunting anymore. We're being hunted, right? So I think about the second conference championship win. I just think about my mindset coming into that season and what my expectations were. And I think about last season as well because of who we had at quarterback. And I know we lost a few key guys, but like, considering who we had at the quarterback position, I was like, yeah, we will run the tables again. And obviously injuries derailed some of that, right? But we still had a really big season. I think the quarterback position is so important, and the secondary position on defense is so important as well. And considering the guy, I mean, we lost one of the best defensive linemen in the country to up the road here in Austin. And same thing for Cam Alexander as well. But like, yeah, like, I look at that situation and you know, I still, well, no. I'm sorry. That was after last season. But you get my point. You get my point. Like, I came into that season feeling like that, and then I come into this one and I look at it and I say, like, this for the first time is is a situation where, like, things can go either way. It's like, I don't expect us to do bad. Like, I expect us to have a really good year, a really good season, a positive and productive season, and it's going to be nice to have some new, fresh guys that to get behind and really support. But I think one of the key things to that is the small chance that we may go in the opposite direction, and that's what kind of builds my excitement, because not because that's a possibility, it's just it's a little riskier than what it was before. So I'm like almost anticipating us being good, so that little bit of worry that I have of things not working out can just go away, and I can kind of know that we're um going to be a good team that's going to compete for titles and possibly get a college football playoff spot. So anyway, I don't know if you guys are feeling like that, but I certainly am, and that's one of the reasons I'm as excited as I am for this upcoming season. LRX 13 says, "Did you see that Lisa Campos was appointed by the NCAA to the oversight committee for the A's?" Yeah, I seen it. I saw it. Yeah, for sure. Interesting to me. I don't, what I'm finding out, like, no matter how many people I talk to about that situation, not about this situation specifically, but the situation around Lisa Campos, no matter how, I'll just say this: the people who reach out to me, except from a couple people, the a lot of what information that I get fed into, and then, like, what people have to react for. I'll tell you this: I have conversations about her, and they generally go these three ways. there's a subset of folks out there that says she's misunderstood. They don't understand her role. People don't understand her role. They take that for take the role for granted and thinks that she has a magic wand and she can just do anything. Um, and they bring up things like, well, she's under resourced and all of this type of stuff. Fine. And yes, I mean, I think a lot of that stuff is true. A lot of that stuff is something that is fair. It's a fair thing to say. I think a lot of that is true, and those are good points. So anyway, that's one thing I hear. And they also show their support for her and everything in her journey and story and things like that. The second bit of conversations that I have around her and I hear from people who are in the know of the situation is, she has a lot of gaps and holes in what she's trying to do. Her communication isn't great. A lot of folks who are very important are upset at some of the moves she makes, the time it takes for her to do things. Her being late to the draw on a lot of things, especially in this environment where the people who are the most progressive and assertive with their moves are winning right now, considering the fact that it's sort of the wild, wild west in this NIL space. And if you are lagging behind, you are going to put yourself in a bad position. So there's a lot of folks who, reach out and talk to me about that type of stuff. They talk about their displeasure with some of the marketing efforts and some of how that stuff falls on her desk. And then there's folks that are like, the third piece is there's a lot of conversation about like how she's not doing a great job, but she's still developing. And there's sort of reasons why there's always a reason to why something is not lagging and she needs more time. So the reason I say that is like I don't know what to think anymore, to be completely honest. It's like I have a very outside perspective. I'm not privy to any of that stuff that's going on, any of the real stuff that's going on from her camp specifically. I hear a lot of stuff third party, but or other people on the other side of this. But I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. I don't know exactly what that means and what she'll be doing, but we'll see. UTSA is one of the most successful, schools right now, considering our football program in this atmosphere. So I'm not surprised that she was chosen to be, on the oversight committee for AAC. Twain said, I was relieved to see McCown made the 2-0 list. I would have concerns about leadership issues if a quarterback didn't make it. Yeah, I mean, listen, quarterbacks are going to be forced into the leadership role just by virtue of their position and by virtue of they have to have the command of their team. And you got to also think about it too, like the receivers want the quarterback to be as successful as possible because their success is predicated on if the quarterback can deliver them the ball. The linemen, same thing. They want to keep their quarterback standing up, right? Like their job is to not to protect the quarterback literally. So they're going to listen to the quarterback as well, and then the running backs as well. They want their quarterbacks to be upright so they can get the ball delivered to them. So when you have a whole system, predicated around you to make you successful, I think it'll take a really, really bad leader for a team to not get behind a quarterback or their potential starter. So for me, I wasn't concerned that I actually thought what I was most concerned about if they like voted both guys in there. Could you imagine if, Marburger was one or you know what I'm saying? Like one of them, they both was like one of the 2-1-0 people. That would have really been worrisome if I'm being completely honest. But to me, because I'd already been waiting on this because I was like, yeah, whenever those votes come out, we'll see where everything shakes. And that to me will set who the starter would be. and we got that. So we'll see. I could be wrong, but I don't think I will be. Batfoy says, "Will Coach Traylor play both during Kennesaw State game to give Texas State the impression that there is a quarterback controversy, hoping Texas State prepares for both?" This is a really, really good question. Here's what I'll say. It's a really good question. So, no, I don't think he'll play both if he doesn't have to. And if he does play both, it'll be, and I'm saying if we are in an ideal situation, if we're in an ideal situation where we go and we start blowing the doors off of Kennesaw State, which I expect will happen, I can see him taking McCown out like at the end of the third quarter if we're in a blowout, and giving Eddie Lee Marburger some snaps in the fourth quarter to kind of ride the game out. But I don't think he wants to do anything more than that. Whoever he decides to go with, so I have to repurpose my comments with that. Whoever he decides to go with, who actually starts, he's gonna give that person the full thing. I'm gonna tell you something right now. If he starts the game, this is just the way I think. If he starts the game and we go the first two series, and like Marburger comes in for series 3 and 4, then I'll be worried about our season. I've never seen a team be successful under those circumstances. If we start doing stuff like that, I'll be worried. Based on everything I've heard from Coach Traylor prior, back in the spring, I don't think that's what he wants to do. But yeah, we better not play both if we don't. I mean, listen, I would say yes, play both if like McCown is stinking up the joint, or one of them is stinking up the joint, and we got to put the other one in to see if they can do any better, so we can be better prepared for Texas State. Like in that sense, yes. But like if both guys get similar snaps, to me that's a bad sign. That's a bad sign. Gabriel Perez says, "What are some key similarities and differences between McCown and Frank Harris in terms of play style?" Great question. I'd say to me, so obviously we have a limited sample size of what McCown looks like in this offense, but we do have some things to go for. Number one, I think the first thing that sticks out to me is Frank Harris. I'm gonna go with differences. The biggest differences to me is Frank Harris's ability to run, and his poise and decision making under pressure. I think those are things that only come with experience, only come with somebody who has been in these situations time and time again, and has been able to produce. So his poise, his moxie in the pocket, his ability to deliver key passes, and in high pressure moments and high leverage moments is something that is going to take McCown or Marburger quite some time to get to, just because I think there's an experience factor in place that separates them there. I also think when you look at the ability to extend plays, I think Frank did one thing I liked about what Frank did, especially later in his career, is I felt like he whenever he was a little bit younger, he would extend plays, but as soon as he started to extend, he's going to run. You just know he's going to take off. And as he had probably taken a little bit more licks and was probably tired of being on that injury table, he started to take less chances on running, and started to extend plays to deliver passes. So I just think that's going to be something as well that you're going to see that's a difference in terms of their play style. I look at McCown, from what I've seen from him, I think another big difference that I would say, and I actually think McCown does this better, is the ball delivery. McCown's whenever he throws a pass, he has a lot more zip on his passes than Frank does. Frank puts more air under the ball than McCown. McCown's more of someone who's going to gunslinger type quarterback. And I think there's a lot of pros with that. He's going to make some throws that are going to wow people. But the one thing that comes with guys like that is whenever you have the arm power and the arm strength to make some of those high talent, and I think Eddie Lee Marburger has this as well. Eddie Lee probably more than McCown, to be honest. Whenever you got guys with extreme arm talent like that, they do tend to try to fit the ball in some tight windows, and that can be problematic. You always see that with guys who are able to throw bullets like that. So, in terms of similarities, obviously they're left-handed, so that's something as well. But I think their games are very different. If I'm being honest, I hadn't seen a ton of similarities between the two. I think their games are different. I think McCown definitely has major upside to where he might can reach Frank's level or something like that. You never know. I do think the sky's the limit for his upsides, for both of our quarterbacks' upside. It's just going to be, how we're going to stack those building blocks with McCown. Batfor says, "What does it mean when players are being interviewed and they ask about another player and they call the player a dog?" It just means that person. I mean, I don't know. It depends on the player, but a lot of the times it just means that person's a savage, and they are probably an aggressive player that will attack their playmaker and stuff like that. It's a common thing. Like that dude's a dog. That's just, it's a term of endearment and appreciation for somebody's game. And a lot of the times when you use that word, you're talking about a nasty individual. I'm talking about on the football field in a positive way. And they're dog, man. They go after it. Let's see. I always see video of Osiris Simon these last couple of years, and had never been a single digit guy. What's up with that? Do you have any insight on Pee was an awesome surprise? Yeah, man. Listen, I just think a lot of that stuff is based on votes and things like that, and that's what it comes down to. Honestly, man, like who's making waves in that locker room, who has a lot of allies in that locker room, and who people get behind, and maybe that's not his thing, and that's all good, right? Like everybody doesn't have to be in that situation, and I think that's a fine thing. I think it's okay. Like, listen, I was not a huge vocal guy myself. Um, I like talk noise to the opposing team. Like I was a trash talker to the opposing team, but like I wasn't big on like being a super rah rah guy in the locker room. I think it takes, and I'm not saying all of these guys are, but like when I was at that particular time in my life, I was like I wanted team success, but like I'll just tell you this: like football in that way in college football is taxing on the mentals, and guys don't realize that until you graduate, right? And you become an adult, and you start to reflect on what life was like, and you look at how you've grown and things like that. And I just think, um, you look back at football players and things like that, and just that environment and what it can do for you because you're constantly competing in everything all the time, and sometimes you yield positive, I don't know what to call it, positive attributes from that as you go on into life, right? And you can utilize that stuff in your everyday life and it works well, but sometimes it doesn't, because it depends on how that stuff impacts you, how what that does to your mental psyche. um you know how do you take L's, how do you take dubs and things like that, so that stuff can be a little difficult. But for me, um it was better for me to not like be extra. If I extra is the wrong word, for me to be like super vocal and all of that stuff because for me, it just wasn't my thing. So and it might not be his. So everybody does that stuff. Everybody takes that differently, and it doesn't make you a better player or a worse player. It's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. Okay. Just want to give a quick before I continue to the next question. Just wanted to give a quick plug to join the channel. If you would like to, there's going to be a lot. My content plan is rounding out now. Now that we're close to the season, so I'm really excited for what's to come. You can join the channel. I put the link to do that in the description. Also, if you want some new threads, shout out to my our good friends at 210 Threads. Check them out, 210threads.com, if you want to get some UTSA gear for the season. Type in Darian24, and that will, I think I have it here. Here you go. Type in the code Darian24 to give you 15% off. So if you want to buy you and the fam or something like that, gear for the game, check these guys out right here. It's a way to help the channel. It's a way to bring folks close in the community. So yeah, check them out as well. And then also, if you want priority, maybe not this chat though, because I'm a day late, since this should have been yesterday. But there's always super chats and things like that if you want priority. Yeah, so super chats and members are always priority on the show. Cool beans. Next question is: I'm anxious to see how Kennesaw State reacts to the noise in the Alamo Dome their first time on offense. Yeah, it got to be rocking though. That's the thing. We got to be out there rocking. I'm definitely gonna be there rocking with you guys. I'm excited for that. Come holler at me, or not come holler at me. I'm gonna be trying to holler at everybody at the tailgates. So let me know where you guys at. If you don't follow me on Twitter already, it's Darian underscore UTSA. Follow me on Twitter. Make sure you guys shoot me DM, shoot me a report, message or whatever. I definitely want to get some pictures, hang out, talk, eat some food before the game, whatever. I just want to hang out with you guys at the tailgates. I'm really excited to come to San Antonio and have some fun. I plan on being there at minimum to half the games. I'll maybe go to more, depending on the situation. But yeah, I'm definitely going to be at Kennesaw State, so I'm excited to see what that stuff comes out to as well. My man Twain giving DDSN some support. ATX says we need a statement win against Kennesaw State. We should be pulling quarters. I'm sorry, we should be pulling starters. 1 second. Sorry about that. We should be pulling starters mid third quarter and posting a score over 40 at minimum. Okay, so I hope so, but I don't think we can get a statement win against Kennesaw State, to be honest. Like, should we go out there and blow them out? Probably, but that's not a statement for UTSA, who's had all this success over the last 3 years, right? That's not really a statement. We're supposed to go in and beat Kennesaw State like that. So a statement win would be beating a Texas State team with all this momentum that they have, right? And all these expectations and all the noise that they're talking. That'll be a statement win. If we go in there and house Texas State, with their new turf, if we go in and house Texas State, that's a statement. Kennesaw State's not going to be a statement. Posting a score over 40, I really hope so, because that'll give me confidence that our quarterback is real, and they are going to, whichever one it is going to be someone who can produce a game like that, and that means our offense is highly successful. I'm not that worried about our defense, but offensively, because of anytime you have a quarterback change, there's a little cause for concern. But yeah, I hope this happens. I hope everything you detailed there happens, but we just got to see. Attendance prediction for the home opener. Great question. Oh man. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I don't expect it to be crazy, if I'm being honest. I have not heard I have seen more people upset with the schedule than happy with the schedule. Because the home games, I mean, I was looking at the season. Well, and I do want to kind of touch on this too. People were talking about the season tickets, and I seen Brad Smith on, he's talked about season tickets are actually up compared to last season, which is a positive. But they still have a lot of people who, so I'm assuming they got net new people, um, you know, committing to season tickets. But a lot of the folks who had season tickets from last year have not yet renewed. And I was just looking under some of those tweets on the question as well why people aren't renewing, and they're all pointing to the schedule and saying, I don't want to go to the games against some of these teams we know nothing about. I don't want to go see Kennesaw State. I don't, and these are what people are saying. They don't want to go see Kennesaw State. They don't want to see Houston Christian. Um, they don't want to see some of the other games as well. I mean, Memphis is a game that everybody seems to anchor around. I was trying to get I was actually trying to get a suite for the season, but I was really calling them to get a suite from Memphis. And they were like, yeah, bro, that's not happening. They were trying to be creative, but they were like, nah, that's not happening. So yeah, people are definitely anchoring around that Memphis game, but I hope I mean, it's the old season opener. We should be a little over 30,000, right? Right? I hope. That's I'm gonna say 30,000. That's my prediction. Okay. We only got a couple more here, so we're gonna wrap up. If you guys got any last comments, get them in because we only got 2 left. I know it's a Thursday, so I didn't expect to have enough that was gonna carry me the whole hour. But we only got a couple left, so if you got any last ones, you better get them in. Nathan Glover says one day they'll stop calling us UT San Antonio. I don't think that day's. I think they're gonna do that for a while. It's annoying, but those are not people in the know. That's what I'll say. All right, last one from Jacob Nagy says UTSA's Adidas contract expires 2025. Would you renew or put UTSA in another brand? Oh my gosh. I would definitely put UTSA in another brand, but Nike's gonna do what they typically do, and they're gonna lowball. That was the issue. So I'll tell you a little story. So when I was coming to UTSA, for whatever reason, I mean, listen, I was a high school kid, so I was super worried about um I was super worried about our team. What brand we were going to be wearing, bro. Like that was a big deal for me at the time. And you can ask any of the players at the time that were being recruited, like we were all asking like, yo, we're going to be Nike, right? Like Nike is who we're going with. And I remember going to my official visit and they brought us into the Alamo Dome and they had the locker room all set up. And they had multiple mannequins in there because they hadn't signed the deal yet for who UTSA was going to sign with. So they had New Balance, Under Armour. I don't know if Under Armour's in there, but I remember the New Balance because the cleats were hideous. I think Under Armour was there. I think there was an Under Armour. There was Adidas and there was Nike. And no, there was Reebok also. There was Reebok. And I remember looking at all of them. I remember looking at the cleats specifically. And I was so disgusted with everything that wasn't Nike. I was so disgusted with everything that wasn't Nike at the time. And whenever they told us that because I'd already committed and signed, I think before they told us it was going to be Adidas. I think when they went with Adidas, I was so upset. To be fair, Adidas was a lot better than what I thought whenever I got to campus. Maybe not the first year, but after that, they start getting their stuff together. But yes, I would definitely love for us to renew and finally get Nike. But I think at the time, Nike gave us the smallest offer. Oh, I remember now. Wait, we had Nike. I feel like we had Nike in the beginning because we had UTEP jerseys or something. I don't know. Regardless, anyway, neither here nor there. And when I say Nike in the beginning, I'm talking about the year that we didn't. The year that I think we did. No, we did have Nike the year that we didn't have a season, and then we end up signing with Adidas after that. So we did have Nike, and then when the season started, it was about to start. Adidas came with a better offer because I think what they were doing with Nike was giving us hand me downs. So it was bad. But anyway, I would like for us to get a proper deal with Nike, especially with some of the notoriety that we have now. That would be great. But we're probably in no position to take um to take a deal that's not the highest bidder, who is not the highest bidder. I think we did back then because at the time I want to say Reebok offered us the best deal, but I think we were like, no, there's no way we're going Reebok. Anyway, um, yeah, but I know I spent a lot of time talking about brands, but I would definitely love to see UTSA suit up. And I'd wear a lot more UTSA gear because I have a lot of Nikes, and I am not someone who likes to mix the brands. If I'm like wearing an Adidas shirt, I'm probably not going to wear Nike shoes with that. So I don't have very many Adidas shoes in my closet. So I don't wear a lot of UTSA athletics gear. I still wear some regular standard UTSA stuff. But anyway, um, let's see. We got a couple more at the buzzer here. Seth says, if Jeff wins the American Conference, is he gone? You know what? Possibly. Because somebody's going to come to him with a deal he probably can't turn down. Um, and even on some deals that he probably would like to turn down and stay at UTSA, he's not getting what he wants. I know that he's not getting what he wants. Um, and that can't keep happening. Right. And I'm not saying he's not eventually getting what he wants, but he's not getting things at the speed that he'd probably want to. And another problem is I talked about it a little bit earlier, but like we are lagging behind other folks in the conference on some of this. I want to tell you this though. I did hear that I did hear that we are on the cusp of signing an NIL director. I think they're interviewing for that right now. There's like an open job rec for that. I don't know if I was supposed to share that, but um, yeah, I did hear that. I heard that from more than one person too. But yeah, they are looking for an NIL director. I know that was one that was pretty annoying, but I don't know what that timeline looks like. Right? Like, who knows? But anyway, that dude should get more. He should get what he want yesterday, especially from us. And he doesn't. He's just continuously not getting that. So if he does win the American Conference, he says, you know, or there's a rumor that he wouldn't turn down the dream jobs like an A&M or a UT. But other than that, like he's not going to just jump ship and go anywhere else. Well, if he continues to not get what he wants, nobody's going to sit here and, basically play in a handicap when they don't have to. You go to games, support your local team. Listen, I wish I can get a campaign to start this thing right here. A lot of folks don't subscribe to that at all. And I'm kind of surprised, if I'm being honest. I'm kind of surprised. What I've seen on Twitter in regards to like pushback to this, I'm surprised that so many people push back on it. Shout out to Poe Ghost. Poe Ghost says he's gone if they win the American. Yeah, I mean, probably. I hope not, but I wouldn't have a whole lot of confidence that he'd stay. Seth says it's crazy that a high school can have an indoor facility and we can't. Yeah, I just think I mean that outdoor pavilion has been confirmed, but it's late. And I can tell you that I know that it being late cost us several $1,000,000. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that either, but I think it is. I've heard that from more than one person, so can't really be tracked. Um, and that's typically my rule. If I get information from more than one source, then if they specifically tell me not to say anything, yeah, and they specifically tell me not to say anything, then it's fine. But that's like kind of old news. I think I've said that on here multiple times. But us getting that deal done so late cost us millions of dollars, man. And that is the part that sucks. Anyway, I'll end there. Thank you guys for sticking with me on a day where we don't have one normally. But next week we should be good. I don't think I have another flag football game for 6 weeks because I need the break. But yeah, I don't know if I'll do it for the season. It's too important. I can't be missing these during the year. But yeah, same time next week. Well, not this same time next week. No, regular time next week, Wednesday, 6 p.m. We'll be back live and getting ready. At that particular point in time, we'll be close enough to where you can smell it. So appreciate you guys. Game 1 is almost here. I am out. Hit me up on Twitter if you got any more questions, any more comments, thoughts, and all that stuff. Darian @ UTSA. Peace.